Okay guys, today we're going to change out a fuel rail pressure sensor in my brother's Lincoln Town Car. Here, this is what we got going here. This is the part right here.
This is what it looks like.
That's the new part right there.
Got it from Napa for 80 bucks.
He got it from Napa for 80 bucks. The really important thing to remember when you're changing these fuel pressure sensors out is that you allow it to sit for a while and cool way down. Now this car hasn't been running for about 2 days.
Yeah, it went bad on Tuesday, and I drove it home. Got home probably around 5 o'clock, and then it's been sitting ever since. So I didn't use it at all yesterday because I knew it was busted. What I did is I came home. I have a reader, plugged the reader in, and it told me exactly what it was wrong. So. Just said, screw it. So yesterday we went down to Napa and bought it. So
yeah, so we're gonna fix this right now, and you want it to be cold like that for a few days, so that way it doesn't have pressure and a lot of pressure's drained off. And we're gonna see about taking this all off now. First thing we got to do, we're gonna remove this part here, like that. And you want to be careful not to get too crazy with it, because you don't want to break this at all. That would be not a good way to start this out. And then we're pull that off. So let me get that all taken apart. Okay, so I got the sensor off. We moved the PVC system out of the way. Then we're going to go in here and get this. And hopefully it doesn't splash everywhere. Here's the bolt. There we go. Okay, hold on. Now what you want to do, get a little bit of fuel, rub it around there, and lubricate that seal so it wants to go right back in. You don't want to tear it. Put that right like that. Let's flip the... I'll take this real quick. Don't get crazy with this. This is plastic. Like that. And then like that. All right.
when taking this part, you got to be careful because it's rigid. It will break. These things will break if you're not careful.
Yeah, you got to flip this little thing up here, pull it off.
Yeah.
And in real time, it's fixed. So now you got to test it. Go fire it up. See if we fixed that sensor. Okay.
I wish I remember where that bolt went. Hold that in place. Alright, here we go.
Let it prime. All right, go for it. In less than 5 minutes, it's fixed. So just don't get crazy with that sensor on there. And now we're going to go for a test drive and see if it's fixed and verify it. Okay, so we got back from the test drive of the repair on the, what was that, fuel pressure regulator sensor?
The fuel rail pressure sensor.
Yeah, so we got back from test driving the fuel rail pressure sensor. They cleared the code. Everything seems to be running right. And since that was so short and so simple, we decided we'd also incorporate him talking about the ported intake plenum right here. this part right here. And when he thinks about what Eddie's performance porting has done with that intake plenum.
Well, I've had it on now for, what, 2 months? 3 months? And I don't really drive that much. I mean, I drive to get to places, but I don't really go for long trips and shit. And so, he put it in, and so it was doing really good around town. I was doing probably around 18, 19 miles a gallon, you know, miles per gallon out around town. So, about a month ago, my parents, they went down to Reassembly for the weekend, and I drove down there in this just to see what it, you know, just to test it out. And I made it a point to drive the speed limit just to see how well it does, right? And so I'm going down the road, and I'm doing 75. I'm doing the speed limit, and down there and back, I mean, I reset the gauge and everything. So down there and back, I got 20. I think it was 25.5 or 25.6 miles a gallon.
And that's just on regular.
And that's just regular driving the speed limit, driving around down there. I wasn't speeding. The whole time I didn't speed at all. I made it, unless I was trying to get around somebody, but other than that, I mean, I was just driving it like a normal person would. So, and then the other day, that part went out, and even with that part going out, it still did a hell of a lot better than I thought it was. And it was, it only dropped down by maybe 2 miles a gallon, so it was doing 23.6 or something like that now. So, and then I checked I do the math where you take the mileage and you divide it by how many gallons you put in, and that tells you, you know, what your average is. And even on that, it's not exact. That doesn't really match the computer ever. But even on that, it's doing 20 plus, you know, anywhere from 21 up to 25, like I said. I think that one trip I got back from down in Rio Doso, yeah, it was something like 23 when I did the math. So I figured somewhere in the middle is what it is. And like I said the other day when it broke, I went all the way down to Socorro and back, and the sensor went out, and I knew the sensor was out. I knew something was wrong, but even then, it's still perfect. There's nothing wrong with it. And the great thing is, though, is even if you're driving normal, if you're going down the road and say some dude is being a jackass or something like that, and they're just, you know, people are messing with you, and they're thinking, oh, you're driving a Lincoln Town car, woo, and they're making fun of you, you just stomp on the gas on this thing, and it goes faster than their car does. I don't know how many. There's been at least a couple little foreign cars that have come up and they've tried to race me, I guess. I don't know why, but they tried to race me, and I just stomped their ass. Yeah. I just beat them. So. Okay, so in takeaway. In takeaway, it's a vast improvement over the stock with with all the impurities and stuff. So.
And the only thing you've done to this car for performance is that intake plenum.
Well, I've done that intake plenum, and then I put these coil packs they're old, but they're high performance coil packs. That's it. So nothing else. I've just repairs really. Just something breaks, I fix it. So. Yeah, but he hasn't been seeking out. I mean, they're coil packs, but he doesn't have really any performance stuff. Nothing really. I mean, I put AMSOIL in it, and I have AMSOIL in the motor and in the transmission. So. Other than that. It's pretty much bone stock.
It's bone stock until this point. And how many miles you got on it?
Oh,
100
170,000 miles.
Yeah, and he has 170,000 on it.
Something like that.
And yeah, you've driven almost all those miles.
Well, I got it when it had, I got it back in 10 when my Jeep broke and I couldn't fix it because I didn't know how to fix it at the time. And so I got this and it had somewhere in the neighborhood of about 80,000 miles on it. It was a dealer's car. The dealer of one of the dealerships where I lived took this back and forth to his house. So all the miles he had put on it was highway miles and stuff like that. And so I got it for about 13K and paid her off. She's been great ever since. I've never had a problem. Every once in a while I'll think about getting rid of her, but then I drive it and go, you know what? No. I love it. I think it's a great car. In fact, if I could replace it with something modern, I probably would, but there's no cars out there that could replace this car because there's no modern cars that can hold big guys like me like this car.
Okay, so summation.
So in summary, it's
the best thing you've done so far?
Yeah, it's up there. It's probably, yeah, I'd say it's the best thing I've done so far. Because that was my big problem before, is it always had problems breathing. It just it would hesitate and then just go. But this, there's no hesitation. It just sucks it in and goes. Sucks into the air and just goes. It's not like it's choking on itself.
Yeah, fighting for air.
Fighting for air or any of that stuff. It just goes. And I love it because now I can get out of the way of stuff really fast.
So in takeaway, even though in the last video I made about this subject, where I said that probably needed to throat that intake port on the back, remember that? Mm-hmm. You know, he actually, just from doing what he's done, has about the same measure of performance increases I did with my throat it and all that other stuff. Yeah. Went from ADTR.
Yeah.
So I think that, you know, what he's already done is sufficient for cleaning it and just smoothing it all out.
Yeah, definitely smoothing it out. Like I said, it's not gasping for air when you hit the gas. It just goes. So, and really the only time I ever had to do that is I went and bought some spark plugs by Polestar spark plugs, and they're really good spark plugs. I'm not faulting him for any of that. I mean, they're really great spark plugs. But the computer didn't like them, and so it just kind of was always giving me shit. But when it was working with those spark plugs, it was the same. I just got a ton of power, and I would just go. And I lamented losing that because I had just put the regular spark plugs back in. Not saying that the product was faulty, and like I said, the computer just couldn't understand what was going on because it was a more pure burn. There wasn't that much residue left. And so putting this on, though, has brought that feeling back. So, okay. And I think instead of, I mean, you can get those spark plugs. The spark plugs are great. They work on motorcycles perfectly. I mean, I got them in my Harley down in the garage, and it just lights up like that.
And we also got it in all the generators.
In all the generators.
All the Jeeps.
All the Jeep. Well, not my Jeep, because that was another problem with the computer. But I gave them to you, and you put them in yours, and they work fine. Yeah. Because you don't have the same computer as I do.
Exactly.
So.
But anyways, to sum this all up, definitely we recommend getting that Eddie's Performance porting.
Yeah, I'm really impressed. I like it. I mean, I love it. I've always loved it.
It made it a lot more fun to drive.
It made it a lot more fun to drive, yes.
Okay. So we'll recommend it. I'll put a link to his page in the description.
Yeah, if you're really not looking for like perform like super speed and all that stuff, but you just feel like it needs to get out of its own shadow every once in a while. That's what it's good for. I mean, that really, I mean, and
You can add other stuff to it to make it even better.
I mean, yeah, you can add other stuff, but if you're gonna start, that's where I would start. Is right at intake plenum.
Okay, cool. So you heard it from him, you know, good to go. Hasn't noticed much of a difference in my performance than his, so comparing the two together, I say they're pretty much equal.
Yeah.
So thanks.
Mine's better because it's my car. So
Mine's better because it's my car. All right, thank you for watching. If you got this far, I appreciate it. Like and subscribe. And thank you very much.
have a good day.
Yeah, have a good day.